I'm Stephen Foskett, organizer of the Tech Field Day event series and writer and speaker on storage and virtualization topics. And I'm here with Kevin Wagner, Vice President of Marketing at Diablo Technologies. It's good to see you.
You as well, thank you. It's great to be here at VMworld 2014 with you.
Yeah, VMworld has become such a great IT infrastructure show. So many great companies here, and I'm really glad to catch up with you guys. You're all over the show floor. You've got some announcements we're going to talk about here. New white paper, and tell me a little bit about Diablo in case people aren't familiar with the company.
Okay, sure. So Diablo Technologies is a company that's based in Ottawa, Canada, and have spent about a decade working on high-speed memory subsystems for servers and for enterprise. Mm-hmm. And we've taken that knowledge and we've applied it to a new architecture called memory channel storage. And essentially what that does is it takes persistent media, flash in this case, and puts it directly on the memory controller of the processors. So you now have a persistence layer within the NUMA architecture of the server.
Mm-hmm. And I think the best way to demonstrate what you guys are doing is just to show the product, because I think when somebody sees this and we say, this looks like memory, but it's actually storage, it really just clicks with people. Techies like me just fall in love with this thing. You know?
Yeah, so this is 200 gig and 400 gig module, and you can see it's a DDR3 interface on it, so it goes straight into DDR3 slots of the server, and it comes up and works as any other storage media would.
So it performs like memory, sort of, and it has capacity like storage, sort of. It's
kind of the best
hybrid.
of both worlds.
Yeah. And this is obviously really exciting to techies, but it's also really exciting to companies. I know that you guys are here with a whole bunch of different partners. You're on the show floor with hardware partners like SanDisk, IBM, SuperMicro. You just made an announcement with them. And also software companies. Atlantis, who is familiar with the Tech Field Day audience, and also a company called VMware. I heard of them.
Yeah, you may have heard of them, right?
Yeah.
I think they have a show called VMworld that they do.
I heard about that show. So you guys just have a new white paper with VMware as well.
Yes, we do.
Talking about using this with VMware. What is the angle on that?
So there's a couple things that'll be detailed in the white paper. One of them is that we did a bunch of testing without VSAN, and we tested View Planner to be able to show the performance of these modules inside of a system. And what we can show is very good performance using View Planner, so VDI type environment. But what we also do is we essentially starve the VMs of DRAM, and so we tested it with 1 gig per VM. As well as 512 meg and 256 meg. And so we slowly lowered the amount of DRAM that was available to each VM. And what we saw was that as the paging mechanism was invoked and trips had to be made out to storage to page the data in, we saw that the performance of these were very consistent. We didn't see a lot of variability, and we were able to service the VMs extremely well.
So even at like 256 megs, the VMs are able to keep running with reasonable performance. That's what you guys were promising, but it's nice to see it actually working with View Planner.
Yes, it was something that we always knew was the case, and we were able to prove it to ourselves in our labs. Now we're able to prove it, using things like View Planner and be able to show that it really the paging mechanism really works well for us. And
you're not just comparing it to like trying to run View Planner with like hard disks or something, right? You're comparing it to really cutting edge flash integrated solutions, right? Yeah, because that's been the big thing too. A lot of people are now starting to look at PCI Express based flash and so on, and that's the target that you're comparing to.
Yes, we compare it to PCIe just so that we can see kind of how we perform against PCIe. And this is where the paging mechanism really is a benefit to us. In the past, paging has been considered kind of a dirty word because there's costly trips out to get the data and bring it back in. In our case, we don't see that. But also we don't see the variability in response times. And you see that with other types of storage devices.
Yeah, and so essentially, somebody can, they can bank on it. They can get one of these storage devices on the memory channel. They can know that if they tune the memory down to 512, they will be able to provide this level of service, this level of performance, and not have to worry so much about the variability that they might encounter with a bus like PCI Express that's got some contention on it and is just a little physically further away from the CPU. Yeah, that's great. And you guys are also, of course, the other big area that flash memory is integrating is with VSAN. I know a lot of people are pretty excited about VSAN. Certainly the techies here are starting to figure out how they might use it. And you guys are right there with VSAN too, right?
Yeah, absolutely. So the other part of the white paper, we'll be talking about VSAN and a bunch of testing that we did in a VSAN environment. Again, comparing against PCIe, so we can kind of use that as a baseline. I think it's a good way to compare things. So we use it in a VSAN environment, and we have, we're in the flash tier, of course. But something that's very unique for us is that we're actually able to stripe devices in the flash tier. The way the VSAN works is you can have a device in the flash tier and you can have multiple devices in the data tier. In our case, we can take multiple flash devices, stripe them together to create one LUN inside the same disk group. And you can add more and more as you go. So if you need to increase the flash in the flash tier, you don't have to add additional disk groups. You can add more flash to the same disk group and get better performance.
Yeah, and it sounds like some flexibility too, right? You can add as needed.
Yeah, that's one of the unique things about this is, you adding this, you're essentially adding it the way you would DRAM, right? If you need more DRAM in the system, you buy more sticks and you put it in. It works essentially the same way, especially with a striping driver that we have, in the flash tier of VSAN. Add more devices, they all stripe together, they create one LUN, and off you go. You have more flash in the flash tier.
Now, is it like storage where if you stripe them together, you get even more performance from the whole unit?
Yes.
Like traditional, like a disk. People are used to RAID 1 being faster than just an individual disk. Or RAID 0. You guys doing something like RAID 0 with flash? Yeah.
So this is RAID 0. This is striping them together, and you're getting better performance out of it. And so as you add more and more devices, 2, 4, however many you'd like, you'd get better performance as you go.
Okay. And then VSAN is taking care of all of the data management part of the equation, right?
Yes.
And that's important to you guys too, because obviously this is not a storage array. This is storage.
Right.
And so by integrating with higher level software like VSAN or Atlantis or somebody like that, you're taking advantage of the data services that they're offering with your flash.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep. And using VSAN, you can of course put it throughout the cluster, right? So up to 32 nodes in the cluster, you can put these disk groups with these in the flash tier, throughout the cluster.
Yeah. And that's important because unlike another thing that I think is interesting about Diablo is that today it seems like most so many startups are focused so much on software. Basically, we're a software company and they want to be build software. You guys are building hardware, and that's such a change. It's such a difference from what other companies are doing. But there's a twist to that too, in that you're working with companies like SanDisk.
Yes.
So you're not intending to only have it be your hardware, right?
Correct. Yeah. In fact, so the way that this works is we had designed this architecture to be able to allow different types of media to sit on the memory controller. What SanDisk does is they've built the memory, the flash memory subsystem on here. So they have the flash controllers and the FTL, of course, and of course
and
the
that's
flash.
What they specialize in.
And that's what they specialize in. Yeah. So it ends up being a very unique partnership, right? We understand DDR subsystems very, very well, and what they understand is flash storage very, very well. So the marriage between the two is extremely good. And besides the storage subsystem that they build, they actually create the modules as well, and then they sell this through OEMs. So you mentioned before IBM and SuperMicro. So IBM and SuperMicro both are offering systems with this already integrated in it. We have enterprise customers that are already purchasing these systems and deploying them in the enterprise to solve a variety of problems. Right? They're accelerating databases, so SQL Server, different types of databases. Anything in a virtualized environment, of course. Now we have very good vSAN support. Low latency trading, a bunch of different areas where we can really accelerate applications and really help enterprises out.
So if a customer is going to buy one of these things, if somebody watching this says, "Wow, that's some cool stuff," it looks like memory, but it's actually flash. They're not going to call you guys up and buy it, right? How do they get this?
So they buy an IBM system or they buy a SuperMicro system with this already integrated in it, and they buy them and deploy them.
Cool.
It's already integrated. It's already taken care of.
Cool.
It all works.
Yeah, and that's I think another really unique aspect of the company is that you guys your go-to-market strategy is basically IBM and SuperMicro and companies like that. That's just fantastic. So thank you very much. I will put the link for the white paper if you guys are interested in seeing how Diablo and VMware ViewPlanner can work together, and VMware VSAN as well. And you'll be able to download that white paper. And if you want to learn more about Diablo also, you can look at the Tech Field Day video that we recorded where we go into some of the technical detail about the architecture.
Yep.
Actually, we talked about it with SanDisk as well. And this is one of the things that is transforming the data center. So it's really great to catch up with you here.
Yeah. Thanks for having me.